After a grand Kiwi victory in Ahmedabad, the World Cup caravan moves to Hyderabad. Pakistan has been enjoying the biryani in Hyderabad, but I think they'll want the sweet taste of victory. But will Netherlands ruffle a few feathers? We'll wait and watch. Welcome to Cricbuzz Live. My name is Saiyami Kher. I have Zach and DK in the house. Welcome, gentlemen. How does it feel after that brilliant first game? Crowds were not there, but we really enjoyed the game, didn't we, DK?
I was amazed at how well New Zealand played. Let's start with Latham's captaincy. I thought it was on point. At the three stages where he brought Glenn Phillips on was fabulous. The way he used him, backed up by Matt Henry, and then some high quality batting from both Conway and Rachin Ravindra.
Great opener, Zach. You were down, of course, but
yeah, surprising. I would say that no one was expecting this kind of a match. There's no doubt about that. There's some great batting intent. I think the overall intent of New Zealand team was very good. They found a way, and that's what we've been saying, isn't it? Like this team, you can't take it lightly because in ICC tournaments, they'll find a way of creating impact through the tournament, and they've started in style.
All right, now we should talk about today's game. Pakistan take on Netherlands. Pakistan, of course, there's so much that's happened. They were world #1. Then there was the Asia Cup, which didn't go well at all for them. So much happened in the media, so much discussed. So this will be a redemption tournament for them. Of course, Babar spoke about how he doesn't want to just be in the top 4. They're going for the victory is what he said. So this is going to be a big opener for them. For Pakistan, they don't quite, they have a record of not always winning their first games in the World Cups, but they'll be looking to changing that.
Always a fascinating story with Pakistan. Let's start with their world #1 rankings. It's a little miscued. And why do I say that? Because yes, they have beaten Australia, New Zealand when they toured home, but they played with their B teams, very ordinary teams. It was held during IPL. And in that, they played a lot of close matches actually to win that series. So I don't believe that Pakistan are the #1 ranked team at any point because of the strength of the squad, the kind of cricket that they play. But let's cut to what this World Cup is all about for them. And they have a lot running on the line. They are at a stage where they've had a poor Asia Cup. They have obviously not started really well in the warm-up matches. Their batting looks a bit flimsy, but most importantly, their bowling, which is supposedly their strength, is looking rather bleak with their spinners definitely not firing, and Naseem Shah not being there is a huge miss for them. If you look at Naseem Shah's impact for Pakistan, phenomenal. And now put all that together, this game becomes extremely crucial because here is a team, Netherlands, with one of the players coming out and say they really want to play the semi-final. So you can understand their mindset. Whether they achieve it or not, that's for another day. But you can understand their mindset. Now that is where they're coming with. They're running into a hungry team, Pakistan. On the other side, Pakistan also need this match importantly to start well because they have not started tournaments well. They end up putting too much pressure at times on themselves. So this becomes a very critical match for them.
DK, like you said, that the batting is looking a little bleak. The bowling, which is supposed to be their strength, is also not looking great. But they were in both your teams in the top 4. So you all are confident that in spite of not being in the best team forward, you all are confident they'll be in the top 4.
Yeah, because overall they've had a good year, I would say. The lead up for them also has been a little patchy, but still you can't really count them out. Knowing the conditions in subcontinent, knowing their pace battery was again looking good. Naseem Shah, that's why is going to be a big miss. How they manage is something which we'll have to wait and see. But Haris Rauf and Shaheen Shah Afridi is going to be very closely watched. All the teams who they are playing against will be planning and talking about these two for sure, that how you're going to tackle, what kind of tactics you're going to use. All those aspects are definitely going to be there. That Usama Mir is someone who has come in the squad, I think, just as an afterthought, looking at what happened in the Asia Cup. Shada was under pressure, batters were putting him under pressure. So they're just looking at maybe having that specialist spinner to do the job. You might see him take part somewhere down the line in the tournament. So all those concerns which you have leading up to the World Cup, Pakistan have tried their best to address that. Now World Cup is such a tournament that how you get off the blocks is something which matters all the time. You've seen it with England. The kind of intent which we've seen so far, suddenly they were doubting that maybe in the previous game. On the other hand, New Zealand was looking fearless.
Yeah.
So these things happen in World Cup. So how you start the tournament is going to matter. How you put all the pieces of the puzzle together is something which everyone will be seeing. Everyone will be hoping that those concerns go out of the way, and that's what Pakistan will be hoping for sure. They would want to start with a good match as an opening match and then build from there. You can't really count them out, even though they don't have Naseem Shah right now. I think they'll still find a way because they've been consistent generally right throughout the year.
But DK, just as fans, this whole India-Pakistan rivalry, which is such a big thing. So Pakistan coming into India and playing, nobody's played in India before. So I think the atmosphere won. And also, if I'm not mistaken, besides Babar Azam, no one, he's the only one who's played 100 ODIs. Otherwise, it relatively looks a little inexperienced.
It is a very inexperienced team, and for a majority of the team, this is the first time they'll be coming to India. First time to step into Indian soil. All they would have done is watch matches on TV like a lot of other players from Pakistan. It is a different game altogether to come and play it in India. Their grounds are very different. Their pitches are actually very different. Yes, they're neighbours to us, but they still, if you do ask people who've travelled to Pakistan, they'll tell you it's very different to India in terms of conditions. Sometimes a lot of the wickets are much flatter in nature than it is in India. So it's a massive challenge for them, and they have challenges with this construction of the 11 at the moment. Saud Shakil is done for them. So they have a few questions at the start, and these are the kind of games, if they get going and they do well, will give them confidence, because after this they're going to be playing some heavy duty cricket in the next 3 games. So this game becomes all the more important for them.
Like you were saying, Zach, the pressure, like everyone was expecting so much from England yesterday, but New Zealand just came after the party. Netherlands is somebody who can always come and spoil a party. We've seen this in the T20 World Cup when they beat South Africa, and that kind of helped Pakistan come in and qualify. So a team like Netherlands, you spoke about their intent. They said they want to be in the top 4, but it's always a little difficult when you're playing a team which has nothing to lose.
Look, but in a tournament like World Cup, you want to see that kind of those kind of matches. That Netherlands coming in and beating someone, one of the top teams they will or they should look to beat. If that happens, it's going to be a great World Cup. Then all these predictions which we do prior to the World Cup, they all go out of the window, and suddenly that pressure doubles up. So from Netherlands' point of view, we've seen them do that in the T20 World Cup as well. They beat South Africa in that crucial match, which was very important for South Africa. No one was giving them a chance. So against these kind of teams, you can't take it lightly. Just one phase of play, you lose, you can see the match slipping away from you. And for Netherlands, I think the kind of statement which they've made, the kind of goal which you set, makes you driven. That is something which is very important, that whether you achieve it or not, like how DK was saying, you still got to believe in that. And you got to go out there on the field knowing that if any opportunity comes your way, you're going to just grab it with both the hands and make sure you have that killer instinct to kill the game at that stage. So that's what I'm expecting from these kind of games. So I hope that Netherlands put up a good show. They start the tournament well. They put Pakistan under pressure. And if they are able to win, that will really set that alarm ringing very loudly for all the teams not to take any team lightly in this World Cup.
I mean, who doesn't love an underdog
Yes.
story? If you remember the 2003 World Cup, Kenya going on to play the semi-finals against India, everybody loves an underdog story. And let's be honest, I think in this World Cup, we are always looking at 6 teams which have a great chance into the top 4, and then there's the other 4, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Afghanistan and Netherlands. Any team they beat in the top 6 is an upset. There is no doubt about it. And you want 1 or 2 of that to happen. That's the beauty of World Cups, and Zach put it beautifully. You want that to happen because that makes the World Cup far more interesting. And I would love for these teams to compete and put up a good show against some of their higher ranked teams. And that will make this World Cup so much more watchable. And the fact that we are also in many ways racing against time in ODI cricket, those things will make the format look way better.
Well, they've started off on a winning note because they've won the toss and they've decided to bowl first. So Netherlands will be bowling first. Before we look at the teams, we'll wait for the confirmation on the teams. But just leading up to the World Cup, DK, they've had such a good qualifier. That nail-biting game that they had, they chased down 374 against West Indies. Then there was a game against Scotland. The interesting thing here, I feel, is, again, you see everyone has pretty much contributed. There are different names contributing in every game. So that's always a big positive for a team.
Also, you have to understand that in the qualifier, 3 of the key players weren't given permission. Colin Ackerman wasn't given permission by Leicestershire. Paul van Meekeren, who Zach was alluding to pre-show, was saying that he's a quality fast bowler. He wasn't given permission by Gloucestershire and Roelof van der Merwe, who's a very important player for Somerset. So these are three key players who we will be seeing in action today. And without that, they've gone there and actually beaten teams, and that is a great story. They were actually underdogs in the qualifier itself. You know, there was Ireland, there was Zimbabwe, there was West Indies, there was actually Nepal, who has been playing good cricket. For them to beat all these teams to come ahead tells you the kind of fight they have in them, and I really wish that comes through in this World Cup as well.
You know, the most heartwarming thing I feel is when a nation like Netherlands qualifies. A lot of the players have spoken about how it feels so good to be playing against the top competing nations. They say that kind of improves your game. So just the opportunity of not being able to play with top quality players, they feel has not kind of helped in improving their game. So they're looking at the World Cup in a way that you get to play with top class players, which directly makes them better players.
And it's also about getting noticed. You know, the franchise cricket is a fact which is out there, that every player want to just showcase their talent at the highest level. They want their exposure, like you rightly put it out there. You want to be playing good competitive cricket to better yourself. So for them, this is an opportunity also for individuals to showcase their talent, get noticed, and then get those opportunities which is going to help their cricket. And when their cricket is getting better, eventually you will have the country's cricket getting better. So the county is something which they closely look at. Going out there, playing the competitive cricket which you have there, challenges you to achieving greater heights, to improve your games. So that is something which is very important. I think these tournaments, they look at it from that point of view as well, that if you can have impact with the bat or ball. A lot of these teams have those all-rounders. Sikandar Raza is possibly the example, you know, which we've seen in the T20 World Cup. He was picked in one of the franchises here and then been playing regularly. Say Rashid Khan is another great example of that, playing for Sunrisers, playing all across different leagues, and taking his game to that next level and becoming a match winner in itself. So I think from that point of view also, these games are very, very important for all the players who are taking part.
And that's a great point. I think we have to understand the context of World Cups as well. Before, you know, 75, 79, 83, all the way up until almost 87, a lot of the players actually sometimes didn't want to play the World Cup because they wanted to keep themselves fresh for Test cricket. Now things have changed, where I think Zach's point makes so much sense. For a lot of these cricketers from various parts of the world, playing well and doing well in World Cup will mean doing something for their country, but also it will help them in getting opportunities in franchisee leagues outside. That's become a part of what it means to do well in a World Cup, and Sikandar Raza is a great example. We have many more examples if you do look into it greatly, but it has become a part of the whole game.
Well, we've got someone sitting right next to you who's going to keep a close watch, because he's someone along with Parthiv and a whole team that is always looking out for people for MI. But let's move on and look at Pakistan's playing 11. I think we have it ready. Whether Fakhar is going to play or not, we have the answer there. He is playing. He's going to be opening with Imam. There is Hassan Ali and Haris Rauf there. But any other surprises, or were you expecting this playing 11, DK?
Two surprises straight away. Fakhar Zaman has not been in good touch for some time now. But it's good to see Babar backing him, because I think Babar believes in him. The other player Babar believes in, who is not part of the squad, is Mohammad Haris. Abdullah Shafiq has done well in Test cricket, but he's not opening today, even though he got a 50 in the first time in Asia Cup when he got an opportunity. The other surprising thing, which for me is a slightly defensive move, is going for Mohammad Nawaz. Now, Usama Mir is the only only bowler who got them breakthroughs with good balls in the middle of an innings, in the two practice games held and in the recent past. Yes, he can be a little expensive at times, but he provides you the wickets in the middle. Going for Mohammad Nawaz basically means that they want that batting at number 8. Understandable, you know, India as well in many ways look at it as they want to bat deep. But with the way their spinners are bowling, spinner Shadab Khan, who's their vice captain, not really picking wickets through the middle, it would have made sense to play an Usama Mir, but they've still gone ahead with Mohammad Nawaz.
But Zach, Hassan Ali, they're going for experience clearly, because he's been around for some time and he also bowls with the new ball. So getting him in place of Naseem was a good idea.
Yeah, similar kind of thought process, isn't it? Like when you're looking at Fakhar Zaman also has not been among the runs, but still part of this playing 11 because of the experience which he brings to the table. And we know that the World Cup can be a high pressure tournament. Similar thought process with Hassan Ali as well. So when Naseem Shah was not going to be part of their squad, they just kind of just thought about the similar approach, saying that okay, fine, this bowler has been around with the team, has been playing international cricket, knows exactly what it's going to take in a tournament like World Cup, and that's why he was picked. So the thought process is very clear. The weightage is given to the experience, and knowing that World Cup, maybe later stages when you play against the big teams, you will need that. So first 3-4 games, I think they will go in with this thought process. If it clicks, it's fine. Otherwise, most teams, they have their pivot also ready. You know, it's just about when to pivot. It's something which they have to time it well. But other than that, it's a good thought process, because you're just giving that player also enough confidence that we believe in you, and you are the guy who we've been planning for a while now. It's okay, leading up to the World Cup, your form has been patchy, but we still feel that it's just a matter of one game.
Also, if you see, adding to Zach's point, why they would have picked a Hassan Ali, mainly, yes, he has experience, that's one part of it, which just Zach spoke about. The second part is, Naseem Shah bowls with the new ball. Haris Rauf doesn't bowl with the new ball. So they have to pick a guy who will complement Shaheen Shah Afridi, and Mohammad Wasim Jr. also, in the limited time that he's played, hasn't bowled with the new ball. So it had to be Hassan Ali who would start today, and the fact that they brought him into the squad purely because he starts with the new ball. That is the big part of the puzzle as to why he is there today playing for Pakistan. So it's a tactical move from their side, and they see him bowling with the new ball, and it is very important for him to do well, because in case he doesn't, then they'll have to fall back on Mohammad Wasim Jr., who hasn't actually bowled much with the new ball, or Fahim Ashraf. So, you know, we have to wait and see how that goes, but he again becomes a critical part, or rather a critical player for them to do well.
All right, we'll have a look at Netherlands playing 11 because their openers have done very well. Vikramjeet and Max O'Dowd, they will be opening. Colin Ackerman comes in at 3, Bastille at 4. Again, the Aryan Dutt is that off spinner that they have in Hyderabad. They'll need a quality spinner also. But again, DK, any surprises here, or they've gone with the best 11 they could?
It's a very stock standard 11. If you've been following Netherlands cricket for a bit, you will see the likes of Colin Ackerman coming in. They've left out a player called Engelbrecht, who is a good talent, but they've left out only because Ackerman has come back in. Bastille, proper all-rounder, bowls in the middle and bats and has got runs. He's one of the few guys who's got 100 and fifer in the same game. So he's quite the cricketer that they depend on. Logan Van Beek, again a good fast bowler. Paul Van Meekeren comes back into the scheme of things. Very... the one player that I think I was looking forward to seeing is Shariz, I think, his leg spinner, a homegrown leg spinner in many ways. Not many players actually are born in Netherlands. He's one of those, along with Bastille. So they have a few cricketers like that. A lot of them are brought from South Africa or New Zealand, and also they play in England, quite a few of them. So they have a well-rounded squad, and they play quite a bit of their cricket together when they play Associate Nations cricket. So it is a good team. It's important, as I said, for them to start well. Definitely, they are not the most good-looking team, or they'll not throw out names that will be fascinating for us to hear about, but they really play well as a team. In the Associate Nations League, they are a bit like what New Zealand are. You know, they always fight well together, and in a lot of times come back from situations when you just feel that they have no chance. They surprise opponents.
All right, but Pakistan's batting first, so we have to have a nice, long, detailed discussion on the one and only Babar Azam. His cover drive, and the love I have for watching his cover drive is just so beautiful. But Zach, he's this one key player for Pakistan, because if Babar Azam plays well, Pakistan plays well. So it's going to be crucial for Babar Azam to come heavy on the runs for the World Cup.
Yeah, he always has that responsibility, and in many ways lead that batting lineup of Pakistan. So his form is going to be very crucial, and also when you are a batter which the team is so much dependent on, and then you are leading the side, your form is actually going to affect your captaincy as well. If you are scoring runs, then you will see those positive body language when he's leading the team also. But if he's not scoring well as a batter, then that kind of carries on in your captaincy. Then, you know, you're thinking about your batting, at the same time you're looking at the game. It just burdens you too much. So from that point of view, it's going to be very important for Babar Azam to manage those emotions. And if the better he manages, the better Pakistan's campaign will be. Other than that, he will need some support as well. So when you have Rizwan in form, when you have Iftikhar or Fakhar Zaman for that matter giving that kind of a start which he is known for, then things are going to be easier for him to deal with. And I think that's why he's continuing with Fakhar Zaman as well, that he's wanting that good start from the openers and then for him to just make use of that platform. If he has to do all the groundwork with the early loss of wicket, then things are not going to be easy for him and for Pakistan. So yeah, his form is going to be very crucial for Pakistan's campaign.
But you know, DK, I saw this one video where everyone was asked, a lot of players were asked who's got the best looking cover drive. Everyone unanimously said Babar Azam. Babar himself said, yes, I've got the best cover drive. But I feel this one interesting thing I remember reading in 2019, you would know better, but in 2019 he said that Virat really helped him on certain technical aspects of the game, which I find very interesting because this is two top class, top quality batters together discussing technique. So do you have any insight on what this conversation between Virat and Babar was?
At that stage, he was looking at, I rather looked at from Pakistan as the next big thing. And I think that was the first time they met as well during the 2019 World Cup. They prior hadn't met much. So you can understand the kind of admiration he'll have. We got to understand Virat is definitely one of the legends of the game. And a lot of players, watch him, observe him and grow along with him. I think Virat is one of those who's had an impact on Babar Azam. You can see the way they approach an inning is very, very similar. At that point of time, the discussion must have been around how to make the best use of yourself as a batter, at the same time contribute to the team in a very meaningful manner, because Virat has done that really well over a period of time. And Babar Azam taking a few tips from Virat Kohli is not something surprising. You look at any IPL match, at the end of the IPL match, there's always a group standing around the Virat Kohlis and the MS Dhonis, trying to take whatever knowledge they can, and Virat that way is pretty helpful, and he speaks very honestly and from the heart as well. So I'm sure he's taken that on board, and well, the results are there to see. He's a high quality player, the player whom Pakistan literally lean on to get those big scores.
Well, Pakistan will be leaning on Babar, but another very important person is Imam, because he's somebody who opens the bat. He's not been really able to convert those 50s into 100s. In the last 5 innings, I think he's got 3 single-digit figures as well. So Imam is somebody who needs to make those big knocks, especially when you open an inning, Zach.
Yeah, but still, if you look at the average, he's still maintaining a very healthy average of 40 and have scored 5 50s. At times, you do get into that block, isn't it, DK, of getting to those 90s or closer to 100, or you're just getting too anxious to score that 100 and you lose out on those big innings. I think once he passes that milestone, then it's just going to ease that pressure off, and you will see that conversion rate going up. For him, I think what matters that he's been getting starts, because 11 innings, 5 50s shows that he's been consistent in getting those starts. He's getting through that first hurdle nicely, but after that maybe lapse in concentration, maybe the situation trying to get a move on in that innings. All those things also come into play, which he'll have to figure out. But there are still a lot of positives when you're looking at those numbers, and I think it's just about figuring that formula of getting to that 3-digit number and then making it count. And when you are set, like all the batters, which I've interacted with all the greats, they will always talk about one thing. It's about when you look at the averages also, you're not going to score runs in every innings. It's going to be, say, every 3rd or 4th innings. If you're having that kind of conversion, it's amazing. It's just that how big you make it when it's your day, that really has a positive impact on these numbers. So these numbers actually change drastically when you have a great conversion rate, and the great example is Virendra Sehwag. He used to tell me 4 zeros no matter, but that 5th inning has to be 150, 170. So if you have that kind of approach and you figure out that formula for yourself and getting in that zone, then these numbers will change. So 40 will look 55, 60 if he figures that out. But these numbers are not that bad. It's just about a little bit of fine tuning which he requires.
Well, he'll be looking at, when you have an opponent like Netherlands, you want to go for it. So maybe today is the day when he converts. But there's someone who really hits the deck hard, and I saw it in their warm-up game as well. Logan van Beek is somebody who's been very impressive, and he's been their 2nd highest wicket taker. So from Netherlands' point of view, he'll be their key bowler going into today's match.
He's solid for them. He's somebody who's always gotten them the breakthroughs, and against the good teams, he's found a way to strike early. So they will be dependent on him. Hits the deck hard, gets seam movement off it. They also don't have the pace, barring Logan Van Beek, and Paul Van Meekeren is somebody who's sharp, but they're, let's put it this way, their fast bowling is their strength, and the fact that Bastelide can bowl and keep things tight through the middle. But in India, it's a bit of an issue. You got to understand, where they play a lot in probably Netherlands and a little bit in England, conditions are favourable for bowlers like Bastelide. But in India, he will find it really hard because you don't get the movement of the pitch as much as you would like, especially with the white ball. So it's going to be a challenge for the likes of him. So it's important that bowlers like Logan Van Beek and Paul Van Meekeren find a way to strike early.
But also, just going back to Pakistan's batting, we've spoken about Fakhar and everyone saying that you were a little surprised that he's in the playing 11. Shadab actually made a statement saying that we back him because he's an impact player. So on a big day, yes, he's not been consistent, but impact players will come and deliver that big knock when it's required, which is why they've backed someone like a Fakhar. So going by just being an impact player, which is why they're backing him?
See, in a tournament like World Cup, all these numbers leading up to that doesn't really stand for anything. It's just about how you start the tournament. You've seen so many examples. So many guys actually getting in the tournament with bad form, and you say sometimes it's good to be undercooked getting in the tournament than just be among the runs. You can start the tournament well, and suddenly things start falling into place. So from that point of view, it's always about being away from just one innings in form. So how you look at things and how you, what kind of belief you have, how the others around you create that atmosphere matters. And I think when you're looking at the playing 11 and him being there, Pakistan management is definitely making that effort of showing that faith in him and saying that you are an important cog in our wheel, and this tournament, if we want to have success, your form is going to matter, your performances are going to matter, and then it's about the player responding. If he doesn't respond like I told you earlier, they will go for the pivot. That thought process is also there, but it's just about giving those first 2-3 games. It's a long tournament. You have 9 games, so first 2-3 games you can actually show this faith. If it comes good, it might work in your favor. Other than that, you always have the pivot to go.
Also, Sammy, I'm surprised he's playing today. But in the same studio a few weeks ago, I said that he will play a good part in this World Cup. And I thought they'll start with Abdullah and then they'll go to Fakhar Zaman at some point. But looks like they have so much trust that they want to start with him. But also, if you see Pakistan and their story a little bit, before Asia Cup, they were announcing their 11 one day prior to the game. They were so sure about what they wanted. Come the World Cup, a couple of losses, things change. So at this point of time, they do have a few areas that they want to work on and make sure it's all okay before they go on to play the bigger teams.
All right, we are short on time now, so we have to go and answer Mr. Joy Bhattacharya's question. I have to tell you all that this is the first time yesterday I had an answer to his question. It was an easy one, but there were a lot of answers, but I was very proud of myself because I had an answer to his. Did you know the answer as well yesterday?
I think I did know for that one, but clearly.
All right, so today's question is, this cricketer's ODI debut was against Australia at the Centurion. He last played an ODI at the same venue against South Africa. Identify the cricketer. Zach?
I might be knowing, but I'm not sure.
I think he's going a little easy. He's warming us up in the World Cup, because yesterday was easy. Today is a little more difficult, but I still feel we can figure this out when we order our lunch.
Correct.
But we have to quickly do a prediction game, which we struggled with yesterday. We were miserable at it. But your predictions for the end of the first innings?
Predictions: Pakistan batting first, playing against Netherlands. So I think you can expect a score on the higher side. I would go 340.
Okay, 340.
365.
340, 365, I'll go with 320, just to be a little conservative and all of us be in the game. we'll wait and see. So we'll see who wins the prediction, because we've really struggled in the opening game. I hope one of us gets it right. What we also have to get right is order some nice biryani today. I think we should. The game's happening in Hyderabad, so we'll quickly go there and order some biryani. And in case you all miss any proceedings, don't worry. We will be joining you all on the 15 over point at the Cricbuzz com box. So I'll see you all there.